All right, it's Monday, June 12th, and this is an end of the day SPY recap. And for the first day of the week, you can see we end up with a 2 up green bar that closed near the highs of the day. It stayed above the midpoint of the prior day. And after kind of a little bit of a pause here in the morning, eventually moved up in the afternoon. So the big picture trend is still continuing higher at the moment. Here's the weekly chart. So coming into this week, we knew that the price, after 4 weeks, reached a key target up here. And there was a possibility at that point, are we just pausing and then continuing to higher time frame targets, or could this be a reversal area? So in order to have a reversal of any kind, and we'll still monitor for it, we had a daily bar here that was kind of a doji bar on Friday. Would have had to start below the midpoint of that bar, get a 2 down bar. That would have had a target to maybe getting a 2 down week in here. We could have started this week moving lower and getting a 2 down week, but obviously that's not the way the week started out. And instead we kind of opened up. If you look at the pre-market range between the blue lines, the lower blue line was kind of near the midpoint of the prior day. So we had to really get below there to start even thinking negative, but we stayed kind of above it. And, if you look at the 15-minute chart here, again, between the blue lines, at the open price, really, it was very tricky the way I saw it. This is my interpretation of the way they were going. First bar went down, so maybe you're going to get that move, but then it just paused, then we paused. And look at this, after an hour and a half, you're just getting all kinds of directionalists. It's trying to go down, but then it's not really going anywhere. And then it went inside for 3 bars. I actually, when I saw this big green bar up here, to me, that was kind of a sign that you were going to take out that high, the first bar high. And, at that point, just given the continuity of the entire market's up, once you break above that high right there, to me, this was going to kind of be the low of the day. And I'm not surprised at all you got strong movement to the upside when it couldn't really move down at all. So the only way to interpret the SPY today was to either get long here or to get long here and kind of, at that point, after it moved above the first bar high, you could see it kind of stayed inside for a long time. Just keep your stop kind of near the lows of the day and just see what happens. So that's the type of day it was in terms of the market. In the big picture, again, we have the monthly chart now after reaching its target is still nice and green for the month of June. And if we're not going to reverse at this level, then we're heading up to these levels here until proven otherwise. And that's only going to take place if that weekly chart kind of reverses. So for the weekly chart to reverse, we kind of have a good reference point. We have the open right here of the week, which is kind of a green line that I drew in. We have to get below there, then we have to get below the midpoint of this week. So as long as we hold the open of the week and we hold the midpoint of the prior week, I'm just biased to the upside. And, at this point, you do have a little exhaustion risk short run, but it's the type of thing where when you kind of move lower and can't go lower, then you could kind of look for, the continuation to the upside. That's what kind of happened this morning. Try to move lower, couldn't do it. Then you buy above that first bar high, and in this case, we move nicely up for the rest of the session. So we have good reference points. Like I said, the open of the week is this green line. We'll kind of monitor that. Maybe tomorrow we fail. The tricky thing about this week is you have a lot of economic numbers. Tomorrow is a CPI. Then we have the producer price index Wednesday. Then you have another thing on Thursday. So the market's going to be very volatile in the morning. That we'll see what the pre-market range is, and that's why it's tough to say how the market's going to react to these big numbers, but it's possible that we can get immediate turnaround Tuesday, reversal 2 down, and start that whole failure on the weekly chart. But we're just going to have to get below that open. We're going to have to go below the midpoint of the prior week. So that's what I'll be looking for in terms of structure, should the market decide to head lower. If not, we'll just be biased to the upside, and maybe with a little exhaustion risk in play now, we'll have to take out some liquidity, some stops, on the downside before kind of moving up. So we'll keep an eye on that as well. But it all depends on the 15-minute structure and the pre-market range as always. And today was the only thing you consider was an up day. And once we hit that, area right here, not surprising, we continued higher. For me, I was kind of looking at more individual stocks since the SPY was tricky, and I bought AVGO right here at the open. You can see how nice that moved up today, and I actually went short Coinbase. So I was just looking at the stocks that I had on my watch list ahead of time, and when they opened down, I went short, and when they opened up, I went long, and I tried a long NVIDIA trade here, thinking that maybe this would, with the market continue higher, and it chopped around a little bit before going higher. So I'm still biased to the upside. It just was a break-even trade, but certain stocks like Square, which I had on the list maybe to go long, just went down all day, and other stocks like Meta, for example, moved up nicely from the beginning, kind of like the SPY. Went up and then just went chopped and then eventually closed higher. So each individual stock has its own story, but for the SPY, at the moment, now we have a good reference point, the open of the week, to look for any kind of failures. If not, then we're going to be biased to the upside.